University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish because it promotes an Irish stereotype of like drunken brawl. So do you think that's an offensive mascot?
Yeah, I guess for some people it can be offensive, but overall I think it's just for like team motivation and support. So
The Washington Redskins, a lot of people think it's offensive because it's a Native American racial slur. Do you think it's offensive?
I have looked into that and did some minor research and found that Native Americans in that area have found no offense to being called like their team name, the Redskins. So I'd have to say no, I'm not offended because they're not offended.
Okay. What about this high school, the Pekin High School at Chinks? It's an offensive Chinese racial slur.
I don't think that's something that should be said.
What do you think the difference is between like the Redskins and the Chinks?
Well, I'm pretty sure if you would ask some Asian Americans about that, I don't think they would find that word appropriate. While the Redskins, they've like asked Native Americans about that name, and they don't find that offensive. So
yeah. Okay. Do you think the Algonquin Tomahawks is an offensive mascot because some people think it promotes violence and disrespect towards Native Americans?
I personally do not, but I can see why people would.
Yeah, we're kind of biased towards it, so I agree with him, but I could definitely see why people think it's offensive.
So what about the Algonquin Tomahawks? People think that this promotes disrespect towards Native Americans and Native American cultural appropriation. Do you think it does?
I don't think it does. I think we're just using their name. I don't really see an issue with that. I don't believe that does.
I think the whole Olea Tiki Taka, it's kind of mean, because like just shouting gibberish like Indians, just like I think that's kind of offensive. But Tomahawks, I think we're okay.
Okay, what do you think about the St. Bonaventure University brown squaws? Because it's an offensive term to refer to Indian women, and it's also an offensive slang for a wife or girl.
I think they should change it right away, or like do something about it, because if it is offensive, like if it is like a slur or something for someone, I don't think they should be using it as a mascot. That's dumb.
So many people think that the Algonquin Tomahawk is an offensive school mascot. Do you think that it is? Because some say that it promotes violence and is also Native American cultural appropriation.
I guess I wouldn't term it as offensive, but I would, from time to time, I would certainly say it's become controversial. And I think that is really owing to how we and the current student body, the current staff and teachers of Algonquin, how they treat the symbol, treat the mascot, use it, and show it what it deserves in terms of respect and understanding.
Like, see, if you're using like a derogatory term in your like sport or in your sports team, then you need to change that. Like, that is a derogatory term used to like offend people. If it's something like the Algonquin Tomahawks, what kind, like, have you ever heard the word tomahawk being used to like offend somebody? No. Then why are people getting like so upset over this? What's the point of saying like, oh no, we need to change our school name and stuff like that if you're not going to do anything about it? There is no course in this school that like teaches anything for Native American studies. So I think like if y'all really care, put a Native American course in here. I'm done. Peace, y'all.
I think that it's a complicated issue because the offense comes with the idea that people don't understand where it came from. A lot of people don't even know what Algonquin means, the word. that it's a language, that it's a nation of Native Americans. Often many associated with the Algonquin tribe were fishermen, so to be a tomahawk is kind of an interesting choice. I think while it's just a tool, right? It's a word. It's the understanding of the history of that tool that can be the problem with having a mascot like that. I do think, though, it's better than it being a person.
You teach a course called Silence Voices, which does a pretty in-depth unit on Native American literature. Do you think you could touch upon that?
I think the most important thing that I've discovered is that a lot of students think that Native Americans are something of the past and that there aren't still natives in our country, and aren't really understanding about the way a reservation works and how, it is its own sort of sovereign state, but yet still part of our country. So I think that's really important. And then to talk also about the positive things in preserving a culture that seems like people think of it as something from the past. But then we move to see like what the positive is about understanding a native's perspective, as well as what the native people have brought to our country, and how we can not help them, but to understand and appreciate a culture as opposed to appropriating it and turning it into something like into a mascot or a joke or, a slur.